the great senator from San Jose, you are a force of nature. I don't think anybody thought we'd be here today. I'm not even sure you did. But as I've told so many of my colleagues, I don't think I had a conversation with anybody about this bill except for you, and I think I've hired 60 or 70 of them, and I'm sure other members of this House and the other House probably had more. And so I thank you for your extraordinary persistence, but I want to just raise a couple of issues in context. I think there's problems with this bill in a couple of respects. We've all heard from various environmental groups with respect to some of the decisions that have been made. There are challenges. Two, from my point of view, I think it's a problem to some extent for us to engage in piecemeal tax policy, as a lot of you know, dealing with me. I want to deal with the larger context, and it's hard sometimes to deal in incrementalism. Three, I'm concerned about the continuous appropriations for local government because we're sitting here taking this vote. Certainly we have control through the appropriation process to the state projects, but there's often challenges in that regard, which I certainly am sensitive to. But that being said, the reality is there's just extraordinary, overwhelming reasons why this measure should be passed by this body on a two-thirds vote. The reality is, this is not a partisan issue as to what the life of roads and bridges are. I just had the Director of Water Resources in my office, and we were talking about Oroville Dam because the Pro Tem was so kind to appoint me to that committee to give me all that work. And we're talking about it, and the reality is the life of the dam is 50 or 60 years. We're at 50 or 60 years. It's nobody's fault. It was how it was designed. It was designed differently. The reality is California's population has tripled since Ronald Reagan was governor, and the demand on our roads is extraordinary. And so the truth of the matter, as Senator Bell will tell you 100 times, is that if you don't fix it now, it's more expensive tomorrow. The rate of deterioration is greater. We need the roads. We need the infrastructure. So there is a sense of urgency which compels this measure. Two, I'm persuaded, I don't want to in any way signal it, but we've had an upturn for 7 years. There's going to be some economic downturn. It happens. It's the way the economies work. When you look at and study, what Department of Finance will tell you, on these downturns, one of the reasons why last time around it wasn't so bad is we had so much money on school construction that gave high-wage, middle-class jobs to folks that mitigate against those downturns. One of the values of government is to take away some of the ups and downs in that process. And to have this level of capital in the system is extraordinary. And third, and most importantly, which Department of Finance will tell you, is that when you pay for money in infrastructure, the economic feedback effect is something like 74%. 74%. What does that mean? It means if you spend $1 on tax, you get 74 cents back on payroll tax, on sales tax, soon to be service tax, and all of those other things. And so, I always got advertised for that. In any event, the point is that irrespective of the critical message that Senator Bell mentioned with respect to the economic indirect benefits, the direct benefits are this is not dollar for dollar. You're not spending the money on something that's off someplace else. It's real economic impact at a time when I think that we need it. And lastly, there's a whole bunch of park bond money in there, which is a really good thing to structurally fix the problem with parks, which is my responsibility with respect to natural resources and water. And so I just think that, look, these are hard things. I give great accolades to those who stay up, I heard last till 2 o'clock in the morning and work around the clock and do what this takes. It's hard. These are not perfect. This is a democracy where there's divided power and there's all sorts of interests. But at the end of the day, the question is, have we delivered in a responsible way? Have we done something that is important for California as we go forward in the context of where we're at? I think it's smart. I give you great kudos. I ask for an aye vote.